Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the actual October Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the town of Carmel. It was held over because of constraints and conflicts. Not held over, but it was rescheduled. So board members' names are in front of you on the dais. We have Mike Carnazza, Town Code Enforcement Officer, and Town Attorney Greg Fulchetti. The way we operate is I'll call you up, swear you in. We'll hear your case, present the facts to us. We'll review it. We'll poll the board members for any questions or concerns. Then I'll open it up to the public. When we close the hearing, there's no further input on any application once it's closed, so please keep that in mind. At the end of the night, we'll adjudicate and review the cases and vote on them, and there'll be no input at that time as well. So please respect that, and will you all please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to welcome the new member?
Second that. Yeah, we have a new member tonight, finally. Thank God the town finally got someone on, and it's Will Santini who's with us tonight as well.
An Italian.
So, all right, our first case tonight is a holdover, and it's Liz and Pat Martin, and the code requires or allows a single-family house with accessory apartment can be detached if existing prior to 1998. What's provided or exists is a separate cottage as an accessory apartment being relocated, and the variance being sought is to relocate the accessory apartment or cottage, therefore not existing prior to 1998.
And there's a letter
They
in
withdrew
our
it.
folder.
Dismiss.
Oh, John,
That's
this
the one,
is,
okay, you're right.
Yep.
So I'll look for a motion to dismiss without prejudice
So
on this
moved.
application.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Application number 2, Robert Altiero. This one, actually, I think,
there's a holdover.
is requesting another holdover. Apparently, there's some agreement or legalized agreement in the works that's not finalized, so respectfully, I'll look for a motion to hold this over.
Motion to hold over.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Nice, Julie.
If anyone's here for these 2 applications, obviously, they're not going to be heard, so. All right, application number 3 is for Frank Giordano, and it's for an interpretation of section 156-15, seeking applicant seeks interpretation that the apartment above the garage is legally predated, or in the alternative, a use variance to permit the same to continue. The property is located at 23 Seminary Hill Road, Carmel, New York, and is known as tax map 55.6-1-68. Good evening, gentlemen. State your name and address for the record.
Francis Giordano, 18 Partridge Lane, Putnam Valley, New York.
And you are?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Frank J. Smith III, on behalf of the Law Office of Schilling & Smith, project attorney for Mr. Giordano, who's with me this evening.
Good evening, Frank. Mr. Giordano, I have to swear you in. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Frank,
Thank you
wanna
for
bring
having
us
us,
through
Mr.
it?
Chairman. I'm glad to see that we have a full board. I'm thrilled.
So are we.
Again, I'm joined by Mr. Francis Giordano this evening. The property in question is 23 Seminary Hill Road, Carmel, New York. It is known as tax map number 55.6-1-68. The property consists of a quarter-acre improved with a 2-family dwelling and a freestanding garage with upstairs apartment. It is located in the town's commercial zoning district. The relief requested this evening is an interpretation that the apartment above the garage was legally predated, or in the alternative, a use variance to permit the apartment. In support of the application, prior to this meeting, we submitted a completed Zoning Board of Appeals application, a memorandum of law, a client affidavit in support, an affidavit from Peter Coppola in support, an affidavit from Dawn Pinkney in support, a letter from the owner of 25 and 27 Seminary Hill Road and 2 Church Street in support of the application, a profit and loss statement, of which I have provided the board with a revised copy today, and other various supporting documents. A brief history: Mr. Giordano purchased the property in 2016. At the time of purchase, the property was represented as a legal 2-family along with a legal apartment above the garage. The applicant discovered that the apartment above the garage was illegal prior to the closing, but at that time, council suggested it was possible to legalize due to the surrounding neighborhood. The garage apartment has had a tenant since the time of purchase in 2016. The history of the property predates Mr. Giordano's purchase. Town assessment records indicate that the primary structure was built in 1888. Assessment records further indicate that the garage apartment was recognized in 1960. A former tenant, Dawn Pinkney, rented from the Grioli family. The Grioli family owned the property between 1973 and 2016. In her sworn affidavit, she attests that the apartment existed prior to 1955. Additionally, a nephew of the Griolis, Mr. Peter Coppola, attests that the garage apartment existed prior to 1955 by a sworn affidavit as well. Mr. Coppola also represented the Griolis before the Carmel Zoning Board in 1978. At that time, he sought to legalize the apartment, and through his affidavit, attests that the apartment was in existence, and he was merely attempting to legalize what was already there. I think it's important to note that the 1978 application was denied due to dimensional deficiencies of the lot and not for reasons related to its use. The property is also serviced by municipal water and municipal sewer, which can accommodate the additional unit. Mr. Giordano has had open communications with Mr. Carnazza related to legalizing the apartment, hence our appearance here this evening. The first form of relief requested tonight is the board to use its interpretive powers to interpret that the apartment above the garage is a legally predated use. As the board is aware, it is getting more difficult to prove whether a use was predated, being the code being enacted more than 60 years ago. With that said, there's a number of items offered in support of the apartment being predated. First is the town's assessment card, which reads, quote, "Garage with upstairs apartment U," beginning in 1960. A lot of times, as we know, tax assessor's office does not begin assessing a property for a certain item until that item is discovered, whether it's a shed, a deck, a finished basement, etc. In this instance, the assessment card showing 1960 can be used as evidence of the apartment being discovered, and it is likely that it existed prior to this. Next are the two sworn affidavits that were previously mentioned. The first sworn affidavit is by Mr. Peter Coppola. Mr. Coppola was a nephew to the predecessors in title, and he states under oath that the apartment existed prior to 1955. Mr. Coppola attempted to legalize the apartment in 1978. His affidavit also states that the apartment was in existence in 1978, and he was seeking to legalize what was already there. Again, I believe it's important to note that the 1978 denial was based on dimensional deficiencies and not use. Further, there is a second sworn affidavit as from a former tenant named Dawn Pinkney. Ms. Pinkney lived there roughly 10 years. During her tenancy, she became friendly with the Griolis, who were the predecessors in title. Ms. Pinkney swears that she was told that the apartment existed prior to 1955. The record reflects that the town has recognized the garage apartment since 1960, and two sworn affidavits date the apartment to pre-1955. In addition, the property owner of three surrounding properties, 25 and 27 Seminary Hill, along with 2 Church Street, support the application. Based on the foregoing, I respectfully request that the board interpret that the garage above the apartment was legally predating. If the board does not interpret that the apartment was predated, I respectfully request that a use variance be granted to permit its continued use. As the board is aware, a use variance has 4 criteria that must be met in order to be granted. Additionally, this is not a true use variance in the sense of proposing a use that is inconsistent with the zone. It is a residential use. First, the property cannot yield a reasonable return. Second, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. Third, if granted, the use will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. And fourth, the hardship was not self-created. For the following reasons, I respectfully contend that the applicant satisfies the use variance criteria. First, the applicant cannot yield a reasonable return. Earlier in the evening, I provided the board with an updated profit and loss statement. The applicant shows year-to-date expenses of $54,019.61. The applicant further shows that year-to-date income is $42,000. This represents a year-to-date loss of $12,019.61. Therefore, I argue that the applicant cannot yield a reasonable return without the issuance of the variance. Second is whether the plight to the owner is due to unique circumstances. In this instance, I argue that the circumstance is unique. The primary building has been in existence since 1888. Additionally, a number of affidavits state that the apartment existed prior to 1955. The town's assessment records indicate that the apartment was recognized as of 1960. We can also see a series of continued use as an apartment during that duration of time. Additionally, although incorrect, the applicant was led to believe that the apartment above the garage was legal. Based upon this information, I argue that the circumstances are unique. Next is, if granted, whether there would be a negative impact to the surrounding neighborhood. In this case, there would not. This area of town is home to a number of multifamily dwellings, mixed-use dwellings, many in existence for many decades. Additionally, affidavits in support date the use prior to 1955. There's been continuous use as an apartment without interruption. Because of this, if granted, there would be no adverse change to the surrounding neighborhood. Lastly is whether the hardship was self-created. In this instance, it was not. As previously mentioned, the premises was represented as a legal apartment above the garage. The MLS listing stated, quote, "Great investment opportunity, turnkey and collect rent. Large Victorian two-family house with detached three-car garage with, in all caps, legal accessory apartment." The applicant did not create the apartment above the garage, and at the time of purchase, it was occupied by a tenant. Therefore, I argue that the hardship was not self-created.
What year was that advertisement?
2016. So,
Just a quick question on, is this a signature on this affidavit from Pickney?
It's a copy. It's an est signature, it's not the actual signature. So you have an original with the signature of the notary?
I would have to double check. A conformed copy was presented?
Conform copy.
See it from there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I can dig through my file and see if I have that copy with me. If not, I would respectfully request that I be able to provide it to the board after tonight, if possible.
All right, we'll give you a chance to take a look.
Yeah, my recollection is that Miss Pickney is, I think she's out of state. I could be wrong. I think she's in Pennsylvania, and I believe it was emailed to me, but I can certainly double check and provide you with that full copy.
All right, and then what was the reason in 78 why the owner was looking to legalize it?
So it was in existence then. My understanding is that they had tried to change the use to some kind of ceramic retail store, which didn't happen. So they then sought to legalize the apartment that was there. At that time, that apartment was a legal use, but the decision was related to a dimensional deficiency of the lot itself.
Okay.
I would have much preferred to argue under that
They
standard.
prompted it, or was it discovered by town officials?
It's a good question. I would have to double check the decision in order from the ZBA to see if it was referred or a straight application.
It's not, it looks,
It's a straight application, correct?
yeah, that's what it looks like, Counselor.
So in conclusion, Mr. Chairman, we would respectfully request the board use its interpretive powers, but in the alternative, we would request a use variance. Myself and Mr. Giordano are open for any additional questions.
Okay. I'll open it up to the board members.
William?
We're not going to do that before we...
No, don't start with William, no.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, Mr. Giordano, this application, you know, has the photos installed on the back, and I'm curious, when were these photos taken, like that photo?
That photo recently.
Like within the last couple of months?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And that is the three-car garage?
That is correct, yes.
Mr.
Where's the
Giordano,
third
just-
car go?
Mr. Giordano, just speaking to the microphone because
Oh,
they're
sorry,
recording
yeah,
this.
sorry.
Either that or the handheld,
Yeah,
Sorry.
that,
Have a handheld
that
on
is the
the
picture.
camera.
either one. Just so we can hear your answer.
So behind that door, there's room?
Correct. My understanding is that the previous owners put in a door there at one point, but there was a third garage door there at one point in time.
And just out of your recollection, you know, on your profit loss statement, you have
Correct.
over $12,000 in repairs. What did you do to the garage?
Oh, to the garage itself, there was
Yeah.
no repairs done specifically to the garage itself. That's just all the repairs, including the buildings. Actually, that's not correct. In January of this year, the pipe froze. And so I had to hire a plumber who came in, and he did like a heat blasting on the pipe that was coming in. to
Heated
defrost-
pipe?
Yeah, he had to heat the pipe up so that the water would,
The heat comes
unfreeze.
from the house over?
The heat comes from the house, it's electric
Okay.
heat, yes.
It's electric heat.
Okay, no further questions, thank you. Thank you.
A couple things. They said there was a significant loss in 2022. What was that?
There was a couple of factors related to the significant loss. One actually was related to the garage, in which there was an issue with the pipe, and we had to install a whole system, for lack of a better term, where they encased the plumbing that was coming into the house, because that pipe had frozen in the prior year as well. I'm not sure why it froze this year again, but they basically built an encasement. They put a whole bunch of insulation over the piping coming into the house. They installed an electrical baseboard heat to provide additional heat to the piping to prevent it from freezing coming into the house. They also had to cut and do a number amount of new pipe work to prevent the issue. So there was electrical work, there was plumbing work, there was parts, and labor. So that was one significant portion of the loss.
Okay.
And the most significant, yes.
Okay. So you did a lot of work, but you didn't put a garage door in? What's the plan?
Yeah, so that is the next thing I will do, and in full candor, the reason why I haven't done anything related to the garage is because of the matter at hand. I wanted to wait for the decision to make next steps, but the plan is absolutely to put, I do not like the way it looks, and that is something that we want to rectify.
Okay. Mike, I have a question for you. Have you been in the building?
I think I was in the night of a fire. Was that the house with the fire?
Yeah, well, so the back apartment is the, I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but yeah, you were in the building with the fire, which is the main.
The night of a
main
fire, I
building.
was out there, and Joe's been there every year for the past X amount of years.
I was just wondering if there's anything in the building that would help you predate it before 1960 or at 1955. Is there anything in there that you would say?
There was nothing that I saw when I was there, but it was hard to tell. I mean, we were in and out, running around with the fire department. It's kind of hard to tell at that time. So
Right.
I didn't notice anything that was obvious, but I wasn't really looking for it at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. No other questions?
No questions, thank you.
And again, just for clarity, this is a residential properties in a zone commercial, so you already have a pre-existing non-conforming use that goes back way before 1955, apparently. Okay. All right. Just something,
It's not out of character.
no, it's not, and it's not out of character for that neighborhood at all. No.
Indicative of what's in that area.
Yeah, 100%. No, I just wanted that clarification in my mind. Okay. Thank you.
The biggest issue we had was that it was denied at the zoning once before, so that's basically
mean,
where we
that-
were getting hung up, so.
That's the problem. That case is an issue. Yeah.
But I think you provided the backup and the affidavits that helps to attest to yourself.
And it was in 1978.
Yeah,
That's a
any
long
questions?
time ago. A
Questions?
lot has changed in zoning since 78.
No, I know, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that used to be an MFA area zone.
Right, that's because then the zoning changes.
I would love to be before the board for that area variance tonight. That would be nice, but not the case, unfortunately.
Any more questions from the board? All right, at this point, I'm going to open it up to the public for any input on this application. Any takers? All right, I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to
Brett, do we-
close.
Do we have to adjudicate on this now, as it's an interpretation?
No. No, they're right.
Okay.
Interpreting
All right,
when you're
so-
deciding the variance as well.
There's a motion to close, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, application number 4, Bore Cottage, for an interpretation of section 156-15. Applicant owns the parcel upon which the temporary dock is located, and the parcel improved by at least one residential dwelling unit, which is directly across the street but separated by a road, in other words, East Lake Boulevard. Applicant seeks an interpretation that the intent of the statute, in other words, a dock, when not located on the parcel, improved by at least one residential unit, is met under the circumstances set forth herein, or, in the alternative, the following area variance with the table below, which I'll read. The property is located 148 East Lake Boulevard, Mahopac, New York, tax map 76.30-1-5. So the code allows a dock, which what's provided is nothing, and there's a variance of nothing being sought for that. The lake frontage of 50 feet, only 6 feet exists, so a 44-foot variance is being sought. The minimum depth is 30 feet, only 4 feet exist, so a depth of 26 feet is being sought, and a minimum area of 3,000 square feet is required, whereas only 96 is provided, so a variance of 2,904 is being sought. Good evening. Oh,
Good
you're
evening.
representing again.
Hello again.
All right, and state your name and address for the record.
Oh, that's
Is that on?
off.
Jovan Kotash.
Okay, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, thanks.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. In preparation for this evening, I did want to bring it to your attention that the dimensions that were noticed are incorrect. Those dimensions are actually for the proposed dock and not the lot itself, which we are seeking the variances under. So it turns out that the variances are actually lesser. One of them we do not need. The other two become smaller. So I would respectfully request that I be able to modify the application tonight. If you would like it to be done in written form, I can certainly do so. I would like to present the
We'll have to
interpretation if possible.
Revise the original application.
Greg, we've done that before in the past.
If it's lesser,
Right, if it's
yes.
less.
As long as it's less, you're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And you know the numbers?
Yes.
Sure. Just so the public understands, it's what was advertised, but we're going to lesser variances being sought, so it's typically okay for.
So your provided will be more than what you wrote on the code,
Correct.
I mean, on the application.
So, Mr. Chairman, whenever you're ready, I can go through each one, frontage, depth, and then square footage.
I need the original application here. Let's see.
It's always the last page. It's on the second page. There you go.
All right, Frank, why don't you actually come up here,
Okay.
pencil these in, or with pen, write them in.
And you
pen.
can talk on this mic, so you're doing if you want.
Okay.
Lake frontage required is 50 feet. Provided is 6 1/4 feet, requiring a variance of 43 3/4 feet. Minimum depth is 30 feet. The depth of the property on the left side is 45.18 feet, and on the right side is 44.44 feet. And when averaged, the mean lot depth is 44.81 feet, therefore greater than the required 30 feet.
Right.
Therefore, a variance is not necessary.
Right, so it's the minimum depth that you're taking off.
That's.
If the numbers are correct, I do, I'll look at that before.
And this
I don't
was-
have the survey with me right here, so.
This was taken off of a survey, and I could provide Mike with a copy of it tonight.
Yeah,
if
it was just held
necessary.
over for a few months, so I don't have the actual.
And then
survey.
lastly, minimum area is 3,000 square feet. The applicant provides for 280 square feet, requiring a variance of 2,720 square feet.
So it's less than all three.
Yes, well, one is not necessary.
As his agent, you sign that.
I can do that.
Okay, so I'll leave this in the original folder.
So I got rid of one of them.
Okay. Do you have the survey? Can we take a quick look at it to be sure? Mike, can you take a review?
Yeah, that would be great.
And for clarity, the dimensions that were provided in the application were the dimensions of the dock itself that is proposed. So assuming my client prevails tonight, he still needs to apply for the dock permit with Mr. Carnazza, and then from there, a determination can be made whether or not the dock is permitted. Tonight is just about the lot size.
That is incorrect, but that's, we'll talk after.
Okay.
Oh, man. Frank, I hate to do this to you. Mm-hmm. The original was in the front cover.
Okay.
Does that matter, Mike? Yeah. There was a copy of the application in here, but the original was on the front cover, and I didn't see it.
Whichever one you amended, keep on top, and I'll make sure we'll fix it.
All right.
If we have to have you amend that one, we'll figure
I
it
can
out.
make myself available. So the survey you see here, prepared by,
Can I see it over here?
yeah.
I'll give it back to you after I'm done.
Get your mic.
All right, so there's no dock there now. I was out there, like 4 months ago when first it was floating, I guess, from all the high water that we had. There was a floating dock or something. Is that
On the
been
left.
removed?
It's a temporary dock. Is it currently in existence, or is it out of the water?
We took out the.
Use the
Speak into
microphone,
the mic,
please.
please.
We took out whatever was floating.
Yeah, because it wasn't affixed to anything. The water was high, and there was a risk of that going out and boats hitting it or whatever, so it was a little.
We took it out, yes.
Okay. What else do you have to add, Frank?
So, if I could, I'd like to start from the top. I'll try to be as brief as possible. I apologize for back-to-back applications.
Take your time.
As the board is aware, the property is known as tax map number 76.30-1-5. It is an undeveloped lot that is roughly 6¼ feet wide and roughly 45 feet long. The relief requested this evening, first, is for the board to use its interpretive powers to interpret section 156-27 of the town code. That code section states that, quote, "A private dock, when not located on a parcel improved by at least one residential dwelling unit, shall require minimum lake frontage of at least 50 feet, a minimum mean depth of at least 30 feet, and a minimum area of at least 3,000 square feet." In this case, the parcel in question, although not improved, is bound by deed to a parcel that is improved and merely separated by East Lake Boulevard. This is not a standalone lot, and the single deed includes 4 tax parcels. Therefore, I am asking the board to interpret that in this instance, the parcel is improved for purposes of the statute. Should the board reject this interpretation, I will seek area variances for the lake frontage, now not depth, and the minimum area. I would also like to inform the board, I did that, I've let you know of our requested change. So again, frontage required is 50 feet. The applicant provides 6¼ requires a variance of 43¾ As previously mentioned, lot depth is greater than 30 feet, therefore a variance is not required. And lastly, the code requires minimum area to be 3,000 square feet. The applicant provides 280 square feet, seeking a variance of 2,720 square feet. Prior to the hearing, in support of the application, my office submitted a completed ZBA application, a survey of the parcel, photographs, an affidavit from Realtor Gary Margolis, who states that the loss of dock would result in an $80,000 to $100,000 devaluation, and a letter of no objection from Benjamin Jung of Lake Mahopac Condominiums. A brief history. The parcel in question is one of 4 parcels contained in one deed. The 2 lakefront parcels are known as 76.30-1-5, 76.30-1-7. The third parcel is known as tax map number 76.30-1-20, and the fourth parcel, which is improved by a residence, is known as 143 East Lake Boulevard. The parcel has been in the family since 2010, but has been owned by the applicant and her husband, Vieco, since 2017. I'm joined by their son this evening. Since then, the subject parcel has been used as a dock without interruption, obviously interrupted during the pendency of this application and presentation. The purpose of acquiring the property was to ensure access to the lake and use of the dock. The applicant believed that since there was a single-family residence across the street, the dock use would be permitted. Again, the lakefront lots were conveyed together with the residential home in one single deed. The interpretation, it is section 156-27. As previously mentioned, the code states a private dock, when not located on a parcel improved by at least one residential dwelling unit, shall require minimum lake frontage of at least 50 feet, a minimum mean depth of 30 feet, and a minimum area of at least 3,000 square feet. It appears clear that the spirit of the statute was to impose minimum dimensional requirements for standalone lakefront lots that are unimproved. This is not the situation here. In this instance, the lakefront lot in question is deeded with a single-family residence located at 143 East Lake Boulevard. If the road did not intersect, the dock lots and improved lots would be contiguous. The town has a valid concern in regulating the standalone lots, and the applicant and I recognize and fully appreciate that. As such, the applicant would propose a condition to the approval that the lakefront lots never be separated and always conveyed with the single-family residence located on East Lake Boulevard. For the preceding reasons, I respectfully request that this interpretation be granted. If the board rejects the argument for interpretation, I respectfully request that area variances be granted related to the lake frontage and minimum area. As the board is aware, there are 5 criteria when considering an area variance. First, and most important, is whether granting the variance would result in a negative impact to the neighborhood. Second, whether the need for variance can be obviated. Third, whether the variance is substantial. Fourth, whether granting the variance would result in an adverse environmental impact to the neighborhood. And lastly, whether the difficulty was self-created. For the following reasons, I argue that the applicant meets the criteria and the variances should be granted in all respects. First is whether there would be an adverse change to the neighborhood. In this case, there would not. This area of the lake is home to a number of small lots that provide lakefront access. Additionally, neighbors to the north include the local VFW post and a commercial establishment that provides for the docking of boats to utilize a restaurant. In addition, the lot has been used for a dock and a boat since at least 2017. Should the board grant the variance, there would be no adverse change to the neighborhood. Second is whether the need for variance can be obviated. In this case, it cannot. This is a unique series of parcels if you've taken a peek at the survey, the tax map, and gone to the site. The applicant owns the parcel in question, which is contiguous to a parcel owned by the Lake Mahopac condominiums. There is then a stockade fence, and on the other side of the fence is a similar lot owned by the applicant, which is contiguous to another similar lot owned by the condominium. The applicant has tried on numerous occasions to swap the lots so that the applicant's lots would be next to each other with 2, and the condominium would have 2 next to each other instead of it being back and forth. Unfortunately, that request was denied. That is also the letter that was submitted by Mr. Benjamin Jung with no opposition to the proposed use. Due to this, there is no other way to achieve the desired outcome other than the variance, therefore it cannot be obviated. Third is whether the variance is substantial. In this instance, the variances requested are large. However, they seek to legalize what has been in existence for nearly 10 years. For this reason, I argue that they are not substantial. In addition, the lots are deeded with the single-family residence. Much like in our request for interpretation, the applicant would commit to a condition of approval that the lots never be separated and always be conveyed with the single-family residence on East Lake Boulevard. Fourth is whether granting the variance would cause an adverse change to the surrounding environment. In this case, I argue it would not. As previously mentioned, the lot has been utilized for the proposed use for a number of years. It's also located next to a commercial establishment. I respectfully argue that if granted, there would be no adverse impact to the environment. Lastly is whether the hardship was self-created. In this case, it wasn't. The lot has been in family ownership since 2010, and at that time, the lakefront lots were the current size. The applicant did not create the lots, he merely purchased them and is seeking to legalize them through this board tonight. For this reason, I argue that the hardship was not self-created. In conclusion, I respectfully request that the board utilize its interpretive powers to determine that the lot in question is improved for purposes of the statute. If the board does not reach this conclusion, then based upon the foregoing, I contend that the applicant meets the area variance requirements and respectfully request that the variances be granted in all respects. Thank you for the opportunity to present, and we're available for any questions.
All right, so how long has the dock that was there, how long was it there? 10 years, you said?
That lot, it's been there since at least 2017.
Not the lot, the
The
dock.
dock.
The dock. And is there any reason why it can't be located on the other side of the property? Is it because of the two different ownerships?
So the
That's what
property.
you tried to swap?
Exactly. So I'm sure you're looking at a photograph which shows a residence to the left and then a stockade fence to the right.
And that's my main concern looking at this right now, is it's right up against the residence, which, you know, there should be some space in between this if it were to go.
The residence is up against the property line as well.
And as far as I know, that house has been there much longer than 10 years.
I'm sure that's the case.
So roughly, where would the property line be between the two lots?
Right
if
about
this
where
could
you're
be
pointing. There's
relocated?
actually a better photograph. It should be in there that shows the fence. That's the one right there.
Go 2 more pages in, John.
So from the residence on the left to that fence are the two lots that are roughly 6¼ feet width across,
So that's 12 and a half feet from here to here.
approximately,
piece
yes.
of land.
And there is, you could see on a survey and on the site plan that Paul Lynch had prepared, that the fence does waver a little bit. It does not adhere strictly to that lot line, but that is the width from the residence on the left to the stockade on the right. And then on the other side of the stockade is the same situation, where the applicant owns the first roughly 6-foot wide lot, and the condo owns the next, and then it's the VFW, and then it's the restaurant.
Can I ask a question? Is there a reason why you can't come to an agreement to swap lots and get two together?
So that's what I had mentioned earlier. We've requested a number of times. We've worked with Mr. Jung for a long time. We've asked him. I think it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to put the two lots together as opposed to the checkerboard, but that request has been denied.
Unless they do it to protect, do they own more land further on?
No, so it's interesting. It's just those 4 lots in between the residence and the VFW.
Okay.
And it's Cote, condo, Cote, condo. And it's a small photo. I don't mind passing it to the board. This just shows where the residential lot is, and then it shows the pattern here. So I think it's illustrative if you wanted to pass it.
This is really good. So you see the split there.
So here.
Straight, you see. That's the lot. The highlighted
It's
lot.
still- No, it's still, because it had no,
I've never seen anything like it.
it'll be half. I think it's still,
So it's 4 lots, 2 owned by one owner, 2 owned by the other owner.
Correct.
And checkerboarded, so they're, skip every other one.
And did he give a reason for not wanting to swap?
No,
Is there one blade of grass more precious than the next?
I don't think so.
That's crazy.
And the existing stockade fence at that point would separate the 2 parcels.
that's lunacy.
Yeah.
Just
We've asked. I wish I had a better answer.
How did this come up? Were you guys cited?
Yeah, Dennis wrote a NOV for building the dock, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Or
this
placing
goes
the dock.
back many, many years.
I'm gonna ask the
I
question.
thought it was only
know
about
the
3
answer.
years ago.
I thought it was before COVID, but I could be wrong.
There's no property you can buy, obviously, to make this work, sadly.
No. And then you'll see in Mr. Jung's letter, he talks about not interfering with the condo's beachfront lot. And just for purposes of full clarity, that lot is to the north of the restaurant. So I know it gets confusing because you have, I guess it's the Water Club on the corner, which has their beach across the street.
Right.
But then further up is Lake Mahopac condominiums, which is more so adjacent to the restaurant. And then if you're looking at the restaurant to the right of that is where their beach and boat access is located.
Wow. Okay.
Makes no
Board
sense.
members.
You know, I was out there, I was looking at it, and your dock that's existing, how wide is that? Do you know?
The lot?
It's
No,
about
just the
4
dock.
feet.
The dock, it's 4 feet?
So a lot of this came about with my client wanting to put a brand-new dock in. That's obviously in much better condition than the one that's there. And that new dock is going to be a 4-foot flat dock. That one is in that general area.
So he wants to keep a boat there too, right? On his-
Only the applicant wants to keep a boat there, correct?
So,
Say squeeze
so
it over.
right now, the dock is on the further southmost, closer to town?
South, yes.
Correct.
So.
The southernmost boundary line.
Could the dock not be located on the middle section, further away from the residence that's there?
Meaning, what would be the third lot?
You would put it right here, the dock. Your boat would be between the
So
house
here's
and
the
the
lake.
dock.
The lot where the dock is now is is connected to the southmost piece. The next piece going north is owned by the homeowners association or the condo association. Then the next piece, the third piece of the 4, which is highlighted here, is owned by them, correct? So why could you not put the dock finger off of that component, getting you away from the residents, getting you away from the VFW?
I just wanted to add that honestly, we should have took a picture in the summer. But on the right side, the VFW puts their jet skis and boats all the way in the corner over there. So
Over
it's
here.
blocking access if we had a boat to come in there.
It's far enough away. I know the lake very well. I mean, you can still get boat access into there.
Yes, you could.
It's fine. I've been boating this lake my whole life. You can pull a boat in there with no problem.
So you want to put it there?
But how wide is the
Middle
boat?
section.
It's a pontoon.
Second lot, third lot,
Yeah.
fourth lot. The third lot is
Yeah.
theirs. Put it there and have the boat come in on that side of it.
So I don't know if there are any structural reasons, right? I've seen instances where there's shallower water, things like that. I don't know that.
It's not gonna be a problem there. If it's the lake is pretty much, there's not gonna be any jutting out structures. You would know it, and it would be obvious.
Do they already have a dock on Lot 3?
No. The dock has been existing on that first lot since the applicant purchased.
But what about that third lot? Is there
There's-
already a dock there?
There's no dock on the third lot.
These pictures are from this summer, earlier this summer.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. That's not even there. We had some bad rains when the application came through, and this dock was floating and
It had to be
sitting loose.
above, yeah.
So he's just stated that he.
The water
removed
must have
it.
been on the
So there's
grass.
nothing there now currently, correct?
No,
There's nothing in the water.
No, that's in the water. I took that yesterday. Okay?
And that wasn't there when this application first came out. There was a
Okay.
piece of a dock floating loose.
Yeah.
I should have taken.
Well,
a
that's
picture
it
of
right
where
there.
It was
the
one
dock.
of the, panels, the walkway,
The top.
the top part of it was floating.
Yeah, so the panels go on
Yeah,
top of the
exactly.
structure.
Yeah.
And that's what was floating
what was
around
floating.
that
This
that
was not
chimney.
here when this application first came through.
Okay.
There was a piece of wood, about a 5-foot by 4-foot piece of dock, not even what's shown in these pictures, that was floating there. Again, we had some high waters, heavy rains that, flooded the whole lakeside itself. So this must be new since that point. When's that picture taken, John?
Yesterday.
Okay, so this.
My
obviously
understanding is
something
that
going on
that same dock has been in existence this entire time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to find I guess, picture or something of it. I could find it.
Well, in these photos, John, that's the dock that I just took a picture
Yeah,
of.
the difference is that in the photo
Minus the
that-
panels on top.
And the
Okay,
photo that
panels
Mr.
are not on
Starace
top.
has shows no paneling to the top of it.
Right,
Yeah, I see that, but I'm telling you what I saw when I was there.
when you went
Okay.
there.
Rose, do you have any comments or questions?
Yes. Prior to 2010, I know the family didn't own it, but was there a dock there?
That was my question.
I don't know prior to 2010.
I mean, when your parents bought the house, was there a dock already existing?
When they bought the house, yes. In 2010, your dad and your uncle owned the property. So 2010, I was a senior in high school, and I don't want to guess at how old my friend standing next to me was to know that. But I know that since at least 2017, that dock has been there.
But has it been there since
Before they bought it.
1980?
That's something I could certainly find out.
Yeah, I mean, how long has it existed?
Yeah, because I think, I'm sorry, Rose, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think that goes a long way, because that was the same questioning I had in my mind, too.
Yeah.
Where, okay, they bought it with that dock there, and that sort of changes our math a little bit up here. I'm with you on that,
Right.
Rose. I was thinking the same thing.
And the reason why this is coming up is because he wants to make it wider. If he keeps it at the 3 feet wide, do we have to deal with this at all, or do we still have to deal with this?
I think regardless if it's 3 or 4 feet, and regardless if it's this lot or the other lot, I think I'm seeking the same relief.
If you're just replacing something with the same exact thing,
Well, provided it's pre-existing.
Provided it would be a pre-existing non-conforming structure.
Right.
if it was 1980 and you're just replacing it, is there just one boat being docked?
Yes.
Yes.
The house across the street, is that an investment property, or does the family, someone in the family live there?
We own it, and right now we're renting out, but we did live there.
It is a rental property?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see.
I don't know how much, I was trying to pull out a picture, trying to show of when the docks, when the VFW puts their boats out. I was just trying to show you a picture, but I can't seem to find it at the moment. But
Well,
we
they're out
could-
there here.
So this picture here.
That's the VFW boats right there.
And the other two lots are on the other side of the
That's-
stockade fence. So you can imagine how
That's them.
close those VFW boats are. Plus the, I guess it's Lakeside Grill now. It was Cunningham's in my day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not a
boats at the
smaller
VFW
boat,
are-
it's also, I don't know, it's a pontoon boat that we have. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's a smaller boat, it's a pontoon.
So it's pretty wide.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to put it on the,
In the middle, it would be a little challenging to, I don't know even if it could fit, but I would have to see.
to put it between the house, and if you moved the dock to the other side
Yeah.
of that lot, it would be too challenging.
Hard to tell from this picture, but this fence line, these boats cannot be in the property line if you extended it out into the lake. Those
Right.
boats cannot be in that way.
Right.
So knowing the VFW, they wouldn't do that, and you can't tell from this picture, but go out again and look at it.
I
Those
agree.
boats
I-
do not
That's the
encroach.
I think it's
perspective of the
tough
shot.
from that angle
Yeah.
to see exactly, when looking at the line itself.
Don't let the picture fool you. Good questions, Rose. Phil, do you have anything?
Mike or Greg, is there a distinction between lot and parcel? I'm looking at definition of lot, and it says a parcel of land, but this application, the section 15627 says, "We're not located on a parcel improved."
Not every parcel is a lot, but every lot is a parcel. So a lot on a subdivision is a lot. A parcel of land is all other pieces of land that have not been chopped, or they were chopped back in the deed days. It depends how it was done.
Okay.
And it could be part of a.
Could be,
existing-
doesn't have to be though. But if it's a lot, it is a lot on a subdivision or created lot.
All right, thank you.
One
Nothing.
question more. That dock that you have now, that's only been in existence since 2017? When was that dock built? The current one?
The one that's currently
This
there.
one here.
Yeah. When was that one built?
In 2000, I guess in 2017.
Okay.
Are you objecting to moving it over?
I don't think that we object. I think we need to determine feasibility.
Do you want to pull it over so you can figure that out?
I was going to request so. There's a number of questions that the board asked. I think better photographs would help, maybe aerial photos showing the lines.
sure.
And, even when you go on Google Maps, if you go on your phone versus the computer, it's two different times of the year, one of which I can't remember shows all of the boats in the area. So I think that would be helpful. And then I know with the tax map website, I can go back a couple of years as well. So that may be something that the board would be interested in.
That would be great. Motion to hold over.
Well, any other board members have any questions?
No, Rose got a lot of money, so thank you.
The public has to be heard before you can hold it over.
Huh?
Public first.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
sorry.
At this point, I'm gonna open up to the public for any input. Anybody wish to be heard on this application?
Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well,
Good
I
evening,
really
guys.
don't know where to start after that
You
presentation.
gotta get
State your
sworn
name
in,
and
that's where you
address.
start.
Michael Borelli and Nicole Stern.
Address?
Mine is 336 Westlake, and Nicole's is 55 Averill. And I purchased and renovated this house.
Hold on, Mike.
No,
Raise your right hands, guys. Do you both swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, regarding the presentation,
Thank you.
you're missing two big things with this. Very, very big. There are people on this board that know this lake very, very well, and I've been on the lake for over 45 years. There are probably 40 to 50, which the building department can attest to, of lots of this size, 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot. These lots were created for swimming access for homes across the street. If you grant this variance to this particular lot, you're granting it to every substantial lot, substandard lot on the lake of 6 foot, okay? Which is going to increase another 50, we'll get back to my part. It could increase the lake usage quite a bit. But getting back to the presentation, the house across the street is a multifamily, not a single family. Very important. Okay, the dock and a boat next to it would not only infringe on the lot next door, but it would actually touch his other lot over that 6 foot. So if the person next door
Actually,
wanted to go
not his
into the
lot.
lake,
There's 4 different lots, 2 different owners.
right. If the person on the next lot wanted to walk into the lake, he couldn't because there's a pontoon boat in front of him stretching over 2 feet to the next lot.
But Mike, there
This-
is a letter from the other owner. I'll read it out loud. From Benjamin Jung, that's the other owner?
that's the attorney for the other owner.
That's the attorney.
Oh, he's the other
Yeah,
owner,
that's what I
okay,
thought.
apologies.
And I'll read it out loud so the benefit of the public hears it. Our telephone call regarding your client bought a cottage application for variance. Dear Bill, as requested, I'm providing this letter to confirm that no objection to the application for variance will be made, provided such usage does not block LM Realty or LM Condos use of their respective beach access plots or access to the lake, which coincides with your point. If a license or easement is granted or implied by this arrangement, such shall be reciprocal and cancelable by either party upon notice. Neither party shall be responsible for the actions of the other party.
So they're willing to work with
You're
him.
blocking the neighbor's lot and access to the lake. Now, Gary's comment, Gary Margolis's comment that it's a $100,000 loss, which is absolutely true. If it was a 25 or a 35-foot lot with a parking spot on it, okay? I think I sold the last lot on Lake Mahopac down by Baldwin Road. It was 20 feet wide, it had parking on it and an existing dock, and it was sold for $135,000. This is a swimming lot. It's not a lot where you could sit, park your car on and enjoy. The dock is still there. You're all welcome to go right around the corner after this meeting and see it. It's still there.
I was there yesterday.
And the tenant will attest to that. The fact that they state it's not substantial, I don't know when 10 times the area is not substantial. I mean, 10 times. Provides 280 square feet, and he needs 27, he wants a variance for 2720. In my mind, that's substantial. He says the lot is there since 2017, the dock. The dock was built 2 years ago. because one day after the dock was built, we went to that gentleman right there with a complaint, and he could look it up.
Well, I'm sorry, what year was that, Mike?
I'm sorry?
What year was that?
2 to 3 years ago.
So there was no dock there before that? Never?
Never. I bought that house over 35 years ago from a dentist, okay? He had his office and his house there. Dr.
Mike, just clarify, you own this house, correct?
I own
She
the
does
house
right now.
also. My father sold it to me, and I lived there until 2012.
Just clarify that for.
And now you rent it?
And now I rent it.
Yeah, Nicole, use the mic, please.
I lived in the house until 2012, and now it is rented.
All right, so we went over the dock. The dock is still there. It's a multifamily across the street. It's not a single-family home. And now, what came here prepared to say, I bought it over 30-some-odd years ago, 35 years ago. I have pictures from back then, and during all the renovations, a stack like this. All more than welcome to see. No docks. Sold to my daughter over 15 years ago. The dock is less than 2 feet from the house and windows. When they utilize the dock, they actually utilize the house to balance themselves on the dock and the windows.
Yeah.
So the tenant will attest to cleaning the windows. It's made of a cheap metal, but he said he was going to change it. There's absolutely no hardship here, none whatsoever, and it's self-created. The applicant lives on Kayla Lane, a subdivision I built 20-some-odd years ago, where the homes are the highest priced homes in Mahopac, going anywhere from 900, now probably $1 million, to $1.5 million, maybe more. Okay? The house across the street that got these lots was an investment property. Lake piece from an investment property. And again, going back to what I said previously, if you grant this, you're giving 40 to 50 strip owners the ability to sell their lot and say, you can put a boat on it. There's the variance.
We oppose the condition.
There was, no, don't talk to each other.
I didn't interrupt you. Anybody can use it. You could post any condition you want. If I have a 6-foot lot, and I actually have one next to my other daughter's house on Westlake, I'll buy that lot from the neighbor who's selling the house. They would sell it to me, and I put a dock there if you grant this. Because whatever condition he puts would be thrown out in a court of law. You know, as lake users, there were 3 legal marinas. Their boat's been kept in a marina for the last couple of years, before 2 years ago when they built this dock. There's 3 to 4 to 5 illegal marinas that have already popped up on this lake. Granting this variance, I'm telling you, is going to put 50 more, 25 more boats on the lake. Town board does nothing. You have the power to do something here. This application, I mean, I've watched this board. I've been in front of this board for 40 years. I've never seen anything this crazy. It's insane. Mr. Schilling's office emailed me 2 or 3 times because they've constantly had this held over, until you had a full board. We had VFW guys here 3 times, okay, that wanted to speak. And if we can get their testimony, we'll get it and include it into the record.
Are they here tonight?
They couldn't be here tonight. Okay, they have something going on. But it's nonsense. It's insane. And like I said, Mr. Schilling's office contacted me 2 or 3 times saying, what can we do to make this work? I responded 1 word, nothing. Okay, I've been here 3, maybe 4 times to speak. My daughter's been here 3 or 4 times. Tenant's been here 3 or 4 times. The VFW couldn't come tonight. That's all I have to say. Please do the right thing. That lake is dangerous enough as it is. And I did leave out one thing. when I said the dock is 2 feet from the house and windows, the tax bill on that house is almost $24,000. I've argued with Glenn for 15 years, saying, Glenn, this is not your typical house on a lake that should be assessed the same way. You have a VFW next to it, a bar next to it, and you have a beach of 40, 50 people on the other side. He insists that it is sort of taxes at $24,000.
But that bar and the VFW have been there for many, many years before your house was. Keep that in mind.
No argument, no argument. I mean, but to put a dock there and use a house to get to your boat is just, I mean, that's just, it's insane.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. Nicole, you have anything to add?
I'm sorry?
That was everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
This
guys.
one other person.
All right, anybody else wish to be heard? Good evening. State your name and address for the record.
Wendy Wolkin, 144 East Lake Boulevard.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Wendy, just, it might be easier if just pick up that handheld. There you go.
I am the tenant, sorry, and it is uncomfortable during the summertime when they are coming and getting on this boat, on this dock, because my kitchen table is right there in the window, and they're all on their dock. And then the bigger issue is that I have stepchildren, 5 and 6 of age, and the metal dock, with the movement of the water, it's a constant ding. Like, I can't express, but multiple times it had woken up my children.
Wendy, just address us, please.
Sorry. So, and it's just uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable feeling when you're sitting at breakfast and you have 8 or 10 people standing on a dock staring at you through a window. Not that they're staring at me, but they, literally, if I open up my window, I could poke them
Your privacy is impeded.
completely.
How long have you been living there?
I've been there full-time the last 2 years.
Okay, so the dock was there before you moved in?
Absolutely not.
It was not there?
It was not. My partner in business was a tenant previous to me. And I obviously was over there quite often with business and such. And I never seen the dock previous to that, as well as the barricade fence wasn't there either.
Okay, that's good. I mean, good testimony. Just before you leave, make sure you put your name and address on that piece of paper.
Okay.
Do you have anything else to add?
Nope, I mean, that's pretty much all I can think of.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else wish to be heard on this application? All right, Frank, I'll afford you the opportunity to respond to anything if so desired.
I'll be brief, Mr. Chairman. So I think that Ms. Wolkin raises very valid concerns, right? The proximity is very tight. I know that the board has a condition or an issue with the condition of the dock. My client was seeking to replace the dock, and that's how we got in this situation. I also appreciate Mr. Barilli's honesty, because he did reply with one-word answers when we were trying to come to some kind of middle ground of how we can work this out and be good neighbors and find a solution that would work for everybody. So I would respectfully request that the matter be held over to next month. The board had very valid questions related to the history of the dock. I do think other photographs are important. I do think a history of the timeline is important, because there are some things that I heard in the testimony today that I wouldn't necessarily refute, but I do think need to be clarified.
Yes.
I'm going to give you this, too. This picture that the public just gave us shows that the picture, the boats across the street or the slips across the way from the house are just wave runner ramps, so there's no boats impeding on, you can see there's no boats impeding on your waterway.
In the R5?
Yeah, it's good.
I think this is also deceptive as it relates to the angle. But there's a lot to see out of that window. There's a bar, there's jet skis, and there's my client's dock. So I think that kind of comes with the territory, but
I'm going to put this in file.
that would be great.
You want this one back or file?
I would take that one if I could, and then I could certainly get you another one.
That's not our file copy, though.
No. That was my copy that I brought tonight in case you needed
This
it.
goes down.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Any submissions going?
And, Frank, the board would be curious to know the exact width of that existing dock structure, the length, and the pontoon boat that you have, that you normally park there, the style, the foot, and the beam.
Okay.
Okay?
In addition to that, I would show a better, I mean, this is a plot plan that shows the whole lot in itself, not the separate ownership and the dimensions of those pieces. There's 4 pieces to one lot. which I've
Yeah,
never
there were a
seen.
number of documents put together by Putnam Engineering that I could certainly provide. There's a few different ones that show just the parcel, and then, you know, the neighboring parcels, the stockade fence, so I can make a note to get that to you guys as well.
Greg, if we hold this over. Oh, I'm sorry. Mike, if we hold this over. And there could still be public testimony the next time, because we haven't
Yes.
closed it, right? So the
Yeah,
VFW
they'll close the
can come
public
back.
hearing and you can continue
Yep,
with the public
okay, I just
hearing.
want to make sure,
We're not gonna
in case the
close this.
VFW wants to come back.
And one last item that I
Anybody
do
else?
want to put on the record is that our office did communicate with the VFW. We spoke with a guy named Chris. I did not get a last name. I'd love it if Chris would be here for the next meeting, because the conversations were generally positive. We did not get any indication that the VFW would be opposing what it is that we want to do. But again, whatever we can put on the record, that would be
All right,
great.
this will be reposted for next month, so.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for a motion to hold. over.
Motion to hold over.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you,
nice
sir.
night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, new applications, number 5, Chris McBride, variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to retain existing shed. The property is located at 83 Fair Street, Carmel, New York, tax map 844.14-1-85. The code requires or allows 40 feet to the front. What's provided is 31.8 feet, so a variance of 8.2 feet is being sought. Good evening.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record.
Christopher McBride, 83 Fair Street, Carmel, New York.
You can turn that up to pick up your voice better.
Okay,
Okay, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, bring us through your application here.
So I just received a violation notice, probably roughly about 2 years ago, regarding a shed that was on my property. We acquired the property roughly 6 years ago, so the shed was already existing structure there.
So it never got picked up?
Never got picked up when we acquired the property. So we received the violation notice, came here to the town to get the building permit, I guess is the terminology.
Do you know how
And
long the shed's been there?
I don't. I know at least 6 years when we acquired the property.
And there's no other property you can buy to bring it into conformance?
There's not.
Landlocked? You're a
No.
corner lot, so you're kind of held by two larger setbacks?
Correct.
Is it a corner lot?
Yeah, this is a corner lot on Fair Street in DeColores.
Yeah, it gets caught on the side.
Oh, that's why it's the 40.
Color.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure, that's the 40 front. I got it, it's right, it's right.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a back and forth than we had originally, too.
No, but
so-
yeah, it's because you're on the street, it's the front.
Correct.
I didn't read, I should read.
We have, there's a letter in the submission that's in favor of this. It looks like it's a neighbor who's been there, or the
Motion.
president of the homeowners association, and he's had a property there since '89. And he just writes, "I'm fully aware of the shed structure and have no problem at all with its location. It's never been an issue for us, and I'm not sure why it would become one today." So it sounds like it's been there for quite some time. I'm sure if there were some issues, you might have some people in opposition that will afford the opportunities to speak. But before that, board members?
I have no questions.
No questions, it's very well screened.
No questions, thank you.
No questions?
Will, you good?
No questions.
All right, any input from the public on this application? Questions or concerns? Okay, I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I forgot to mention, you can stick around for us to adjudicate, or you can go watch it on Channel 24 on Verizon and Channel 95 on Comcast. Thanks, Sylvia.
That's why I'm here.
Quick draw McGraw,
That's why they put me next to you.
wingman. All right, application number 6, Richard and Pamela Stanley for a variation of section 156-15 and 156-47A1, seeking a variance for permission to construct a second-floor addition. Property is located at 22 Frederick Street, Mahopac, and it's tax map 64.19-1-60. The code requires or allows 30 feet. What's provided is going to be 25.35 feet,
and variance required of 4.65 feet. Good evening.
Hello.
You can use the handheld if it's easier for you.
Oh, it's okay.
State your name and address for the record.
Grace McGinnis, representing Richard and Pamela Stanley at 22 Frederick Street in Mahopac.
Okay.
Your attorney?
And, no.
Oh,
you-
no, I'm the architect.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and what's your address for the record?
1949 Route 9, Garrison.
Okay, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay, bring us through the application.
We are looking to expand the existing second floor on this residence. Right now, it has a small second floor. It's a Cape Cod. And we're basically just looking to expand the second floor to the full footprint of the home, which is non-conforming. And for that reason, we are seeking the 4.65-foot variance on the rear of the property from the 30-foot setback to bring it to 25.35, which is the existing setback.
It's a pretty minimal variance being sought, but it's in the same line, same property line, right?
Yes.
We're looking at this, the site plan, there it is.
They also have 2 one-family dwellings on the lot, so that's the other reason they're here.
Okay.
There's 2 houses on this lot.
Oh, yes, but I don't think that our application is concerned with that, as far as I know.
The 47A1 is the expansion of a non-conforming.
Okay, yes.
Right,
it's
this
a
has to
house,
be
right?
an expansion of non-conforming, just by law, right?
Gotcha. So both houses have always existed on this lot?
I don't know about the history of the second house.
Mike, do we know that?
Yeah, it's pre-existing non-conforming, it's legal.
Okay.
Built in 52, according to the last email we did on
Wow.
Yeah.
it. Yeah, wow.
Okay. All right, so, board members, any questions?
I have no questions.
I believe that this house is way down, so it won't affect the views of anybody else.
No, you're correct, and in fact, the second single-family home on the property is what's further up the hill, so it's
So
all
if-
belonging to the same owner anyway.
So if you put a second floor on, it won't affect
No, it
anybody's
won't,
views.
and there is already a second floor.
It's already
Just expanding it.
True, okay.
Expanding Cape.
No questions, thank you.
No questions?
Will, you gotta have something. No questions. Come on, new guy.
All right, any input from the public on this application? Anyone wish to be heard? Okay, I'll look for a motion to close the
So
hearing.
moved.
Do I
Second.
have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The board is as long as the variance.
All right, application number 7. Patrick Coleman for a variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to add steps to a deck and shed. Property is located at 26 Summit Circle Drive, Mahopac, New York. Tax map 87.9-1-33. The code requires or allows a 30-foot rear deck. What will be provided is 1.1 feet, so a variance required of 28.9 feet is being sought. Good evening.
Good evening.
State your name and address for the record.
Patrick Coleman, 26 Summit Circle Drive, Mahopac.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, bring us through your application.
Okay, so my wife and I were looking to redo our deck this spring, and in the process, the deck companies wanted to redo the entire deck. It's a very high deck off the back of our house. It's been there, it's pre-existing. The set of stairs that are currently there on the east side of the house, if you look at the schematics there that you have, they're very long, narrow. They're on one side of the house, they're almost 15 to 20 feet up off the ground. Mike actually knows the property well. He grew up there, he said, in that neighborhood. Very high up, so they're not safe. So in the course of redoing the deck, we wanted to put the stairs on the western side of the house. It'll only be about 4 feet off the ground, go down to a little patio that we have there in our side yard. But right in that corner of the house is where our property backs up to Nice Egg, the power lines back there that go up the hill.
It's a vacant lot.
Yep,
But it's
so,
kinda weird the way the house was built so close to the property line anyway. but
I was going to say, so there already is a
Right.
variance there for the existing deck and house because it is less than 30 feet. I think it's roughly around 6 feet right now, is how close it is. So we're only going another like 4 or 5 feet to expand and put that 4-foot wide set of stairs on there to make it safer to get on and off the deck from the property. In the course of one of Mike's guys coming out to take a look at it with me, because there are some issues there with the current variance and needing a new one. He asked me about the shed. I didn't realize I had a 6x6 plastic Rubbermaid shed up in the yard. So we added that to here as well to make sure it was legal. I didn't realize I had to do that, so.
The only problem is it's not advertised on this.
Yeah.
What's that?
We don't
It's
see
in
it.
your packet, but it's not advertised as such. It's just for the rear deck. Mike,
The shed isn't listed on
You
your
gotta hold it over.
application.
the application here.
Also, I think you have another problem too,
What's that?
the 6-foot fence along the front property line.
That's on the side of the house.
There's one in the front, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's on the side of the house.
But it's in front of the house.
This is the front of the house.
The front of the house has no,
Along the road. It's
The road is the side. This is the front.
yeah, but that's on the side yard property.
Yeah, but if it
Fence.
goes past the front footprint of your house, it has to go down to 4 feet. That's the way our code's written.
Yeah, if it's in front of your house.
Let Mike handle it. Yeah.
The way we do it is we draw a line across the front of the house. From there forward can be 4 feet, there back can be 6.
Right.
Where's the 6-foot fence?
The entire side of the house, but yes,
The
it
whole
does come
thing
up,
from here?
it does come up to the,
You want to indicate on your site
Yeah.
plan, if you want, Mike?
It's along the road, isn't it?
so the fence goes.
See, he has a 280A variance also, so there is no frontage on this lot, so it's a little,
This is the
No
fence.
frontage?
There's no front.
This is where the
no frontage.
stairs would be coming off. This is
No
where,
sidewalk,
excuse me,
yeah.
sorry. Stairs over here. Yeah. In the patio. This is where the old stairs were that are dangerous. New stairs, shed is, yeah, right up here.
Summit Circle is not a road at that point, I guess.
Where there's a fence in the other there.
Gotcha.
If I need to,
Can you use the microphone, please?
yep, sorry.
Sorry.
If I need to add the fence for variance as well, I'd be more than happy to do so.
Mike just clarified you don't need
Okay.
to because it's not.
Yeah, come see
Okay.
me, come see me, we'll make sure
Okay.
we get everything on there.
Yep,
but
sorry about that.
And the shed
I
has
didn't
no.
know about a fence, but I'll take a look and see
Yeah,
where the
take a
front
Well,
is.
we're gonna have to hold it over because it was misadvertised, unfortunately for you. I mean, there's no rush here, right?
Well, at this point now, I've been waiting since,
has to be renoticed.
May, June, so I think, we're okay if we wait a little.
If you're holding it over, you're holding over an incomplete application, right?
Oh, so we have to
You can close
dismiss it?
You can dismiss it without prejudice, or you can just close the public hearing and not act on it. But it's gotta be renoticed for all the relief that the applicant's seeking. Okay?
Okay. So you're gonna have to go see Mike, like you mentioned, as soon as you can.
Okay.
Discuss the fence and make sure that's covered, but the shed was not captured on this. So.
Yeah, I think after I spoke to Mike's guy who came and saw the property, we kind of added it in, but I guess maybe my
never
paperwork was
got to
already,
the advertising.
gotcha.
I think we added on a different sheet, and it's not on this sheet.
Okay.
It's not on
was-
the, but it only says deck here, we didn't even add the sheds.
Yeah, on the application, that's what it says, the deck and shed, but I guess we're missing the variance portion for that. Well, I can tell you, the same 1.1 feet is being sought on the shed too, because that's how far back it is, but.
Yeah, but the shed
Right,
is
so
not
we're not gonna
conforming.
touch it, right? We're not gonna touch the shed. We're only gonna deal with this. Right?
Oh.
We're gonna have to pay twice.
Well, that's what Greg is saying. No,
I mean, I can
Greg,
take down the shed tomorrow
So
if
he
need
doesn't have to
be.
pay for a second
Yeah,
application, we
don't-
can hold this over.
We're gonna amend the application, renotice it, he's not gonna pay another fee then, correct?
Yeah, that would be a fair way.
That's the best
All
way
right,
to
good.
do it.
All right.
So, board members, any questions or other comments?
No.
Any input from the public on this application? Okay, I'm gonna look for a motion to hold this over,
So
so it's
moved.
the same
Second.
application for next month.
To amend,
Do I
I
have a
move.
second?
Second.
She did. Who else?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. It happens from time to time.
Not a problem, thank you very much.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you for your understanding.
Next application is number 8, Alex Malachek for variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to build a deck attached to the rear of the garage. Property is located at 13 Maple Lane East, Mahopac, New York, tax map 53.1-1-50. Code requires and allows 15 feet to the side, 7 feet is existing, so a variance of 8 feet is being sought. Good evening.
Good evening. Alex Malachek, 13 Maple Lane East, Mahopac, New York.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yep, do.
Bring us through your situation.
So last year, this board approved a variance to build the garage. I think we asked for 10 feet. 5 was given from the same property line. I went to go see Mike after we decided, hey, it'd be a better idea to build a deck because I don't want to backfill that area. I got some pictures there. Hopefully you saw those. And then it turns out I got to get another variance, so here I am.
You do.
Had I known, I would have probably put it, with the plans
Yeah.
at the time.
I didn't get a chance to get up there, but is that, that's waterproofing. All right, it looked like it was.
Yeah, it's waterproofing, and then I spent a lot of money getting rid of the ledge, and the amount of gravel I'd have to put over there,
Yeah.
I as well just build a deck.
That makes sense. You got a door there.
I want to watch, it's wet back there.
Okay.
I got a lot of water coming down. The old garage, the back wall fell in because of the water and the pressure.
Looking at the plans, do you have anything to prevent a child or somebody falling underneath this deck? Is there any lattice? If you're
So
gonna leave it
if you're looking
unfilled.
at it from the back, on the left-hand side, it goes out to grade.
Yeah.
And then you've got you've got the rock, the ledge coming up, and then you've got your posts and everything on the right side, the railing.
Okay, yeah, so you'll be building flush to the ledge.
You're
up
flush
that
to the
side.
ledge.
But what about the sides?
Yeah, on the right, if you're looking on the back, on the right side, there'll be a railing. On the left side, it goes out to grade.
No, but I'm saying from the land side, someone falling into below the
Land
deck.
side. So there's no, it's kind of, like off the,
We don't see we see it on your plan, but in this rendition, the deck's coming off this door, right?
it's coming back, yeah, what you don't see on
Over that ledge.
the ledge comes up.
Over
So it goes
here.
up to the ledge, yeah, so it goes up. So on the right side of that where your pen is, you'll have a railing. That's a dangerous side, you have to have a railing. That
John's
side-
concerned like someone getting down
I'm concerned from the
here.
land side, not the deck side. So
Right.
from the land side, without that being filled.
Well, that's
what-
gonna be filled, that corner. You're talking the left side?
Both sides.
The right side is not, there's a railing, it's not gonna be filled there.
I think what he's
The
saying is it's
deck
gonna be
is
at
gonna be
grade.
flush to the left and right side of the house, correct? And it's gonna go back to the ledge.
Right.
You have a hollow on this side, and you have a hollow from that side, if you're on the
No,
land.
that's gonna, where your pen is right there, that's gonna be filled. That's
So,
not
John,
filled right now because.
He's gonna fill this in.
That's all gonna be filled, and that'll be grade up to the deck.
Okay.
The
And
right
then
side.
On the opposite side, the left
Well,
side as you're facing the
Yeah.
garage?
Will be a railing, all the way across.
On
All
the
way to
land?
left, yes.
Okay. Safety manager in me, I have to
Yeah,
question
no,
this
absolutely.
stuff.
Safety dance. Killjoy.
All right, there's no other land you can buy to bring it into conformance? No. You're landlocked there, right? Your plans and details are in here, so that helps. John?
I have no questions.
Rose?
When you came in '22 for the variance, we conditioned it so that there's no plumbing in there.
Yep.
Is that correct? And we will condition it that there will be no living
Correct.
quarters in there? Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah,
we're-
that's, I'm not asking for that to change.
Okay.
Phil?
No questions, thank you.
Sil?
Nope.
No.
Julie? Will? Any input from the public on this application? Anybody wish to be heard? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Application number 9, Jason Schott, for a variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to retain a 10 by 18 shed. Property is located at 33 Angela Drive, Carmel, New York. Tax map 54.9-1-29. Code requires or allows a 10 by 18 shed, 20 foot to the side. What's provided is 7 feet, and a variance is being sought of 13 feet. Good evening. You are?
Good evening. Yeah, Jason Schott, 33 Angela Drive, Carmel.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, bring us through your application.
So I purchased this house last November. There was violations on the house for the shed that was not disclosed and didn't show up in the title search. Of course. So now I'm trying to deal with it. I got quotes to move the shed, but it would cost about $3,000 to do that.
Yeah, it's a pretty big one.
And I provided pictures there.
Yep.
It abuts up to the Jimmy McDougal Park, so you can't see the shed from the park. There's trees that
Pretty
block
well
it.
screened.
Yeah, it's very well screened, and
separates it well.
it goes down, the driveway goes down pretty low, so you can't really see it very well from the road. So that's, I'm
And there's no
asking.
property you can purchase to bring it into conformance?
No,
You
no,
wish?
no.
Talk to your neighbors? No
I mean,
issues?
I sent out the notifications, but I haven't heard anything.
All right, any questions on this application from the board?
Looks nice. No, I have no questions.
Come on, Willie,
Looking
you're
this way.
Carmel, you're representing Carmel. You got
No
no questions? All right. Any input from the public on this application? I'll look for motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Julie, you're very vocal tonight.
She is so
Thank you.
quick with those seconds.
She does not want Rose to second anything.
Thank you very much.
Firing them out. All right, application number 10, Joseph Caruso, variation of section 156-15, seeking variance for permission to retain a second shed. Property is located at 18 Sharon Court, Mahopac, New York, tax map 75.17-1-16. Code requires 10 feet on side, 1 foot's provided, 9-foot variance is requested. For the other, I guess the other side of it is 10 feet, is required, 1 foot provided again, and 9 feet being sought once again. Good evening.
Good evening.
You are?
Joseph Caruso. I live at 18 Sherrill Court, Mahopac, New York.
And raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, bring us through your situation.
About 2 years ago, I received a violation in the mail for a shed that I had on my property. It was a small Rubbermaid shed, and it was there about 6 years. So I was just seeking a variance for that. I had
This
to
was
put
2
it
years
on
ago, you got notice?
2 years ago, approximately.
All right, why so long to come in front of us?
I was pretty ill for about a year and a half.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
So how long has the shed been there?
About 6 years.
6 years? You talked to your neighbors about it?
Yes, and I submitted
Yeah, all right, we have-
a
that's right,
couple,
we have a
3 letters from my
letter of
adjoining
support.
neighbors.
All right, for the record, Jesse Holiger, if I'm pronouncing that right, is in support of this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. And Dick Byrer also is in support of this with no issues or concerns. Okay, for the record.
Additionally, John, there's Matthew Berlinski at 22 Sherrill Court is in favor. That just came.
And Mr. Holiger
Mr.
is
Caruso.
18 Sherrill Court, and Mr. Byer is 14 Sherrill Court.
Where'd you get that there?
Mr. Caruso just handed this to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, and what was the address here?
Sherrill Court.
22 Sherrill Court, Mr.
Yes, he's
Matthew
to the left.
Berlinski. Okay, we'll put these in for the record.
A large font.
I'll ask the same question. There's no property you can purchase to bring it into conformance?
No.
All right, you pretty much, from the pictures, you're screened with the fence on the 2 sides. So, I mean, it's almost natural that it goes there with a smaller lot, so. Any questions from the board?
No questions.
No questions, thank you.
Any input or questions from the public on this application? I'll look for motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Julie?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Moving right along. Application of Antonio and Beth Reale for a variation of section 156-15, seeking variance for permission to retain gazebo and pergola. Property is located at 117 Breckenridge Road, Mahopac, New York, tax map 74.12-1-3. Code requires or allows 15 feet for the 20 by 12. I'm assuming that's the pergola. And what's provided is 2 feet to the side. A variance of 13 feet is required. And for the shed, it's, or gazebo, it's 15 feet is the, what's required, and it's 24 by 12. So the same situation is 2 feet to the rear and 13 feet variance is being sought. Good evening.
Hi, Beth Reale, 117 Breckenridge Road, Mahopac, New York.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, bring us through your situation.
Well, I started off with pop-up tents on my property and graduated to a pergola and then a gazebo, and had no idea I needed a permit. So then I was cited with a violation and then learned I actually needed a variance.
Okay,
But-
how long have they both been there?
A few years.
At the same time, or one before the
No,
other?
I had the gazebo first, and it was on the east side, and then I moved it because, for design reasons. it was too dark.
Okay. And that's the brown structure, correct?
That's the
brown-
gazebo, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I have letters from
Yeah, I was just,
both
I was gonna get there.
neighbors
So we have a letter
affected.
from Mariola Brozowski from 7 Marion Drive in support of this.
Yes, she's directly in back of me, affected by the pergola. And then
Okay.
Trevor Southlia, he's on the gazebo side.
Okay, I don't remember seeing a letter.
Here's that one right here, John. There's 3 on there.
There's 3, and then there's here's Trevor's letter, if you don't have
Oh,
it.
I had no time to go through the folder. All right.
Do you have Trevor Southlia's, because he's the one affected? with
Yes,
the-
we have that.
Okay, so,
And then I have the neighbors all in front.
okay, that's, can't read the name, Kyle Mintus?
Mincer,
Mincer, and that's 120 Breckenridge Road.
diagonally from me.
Robert, who's the second name?
Lex,
Lex?
he's the first house.
That's 313 Archer Road.
He's actually, if you turn right on Breckenridge, he's the first house and I'm the second house. His address is Archer, but
Right.
he's
Okay.
the
He
house right
abuts
next
you.
to me.
And
Julio
And
Cephaloni.
then Mr. Cephaloni.
That's Julio Cephaloni. I know that.
Cephaloni?
Yes.
And it's 98 Breckenridge Road. Where he's right next to you?
He's diagonally.
Okay, so let the record reflect that. You have 4 supporters here, and there's no other property you can purchase to bring into conformance?
No, it's
Okay.
owned by my neighbors.
Okay. Board members, questions,
It looks very good.
concerns?
Thank you.
No questions, thank
Good
you.
on the board?
No questions.
Any input from the public on this application? Somebody's here for something. I know. We're getting
We have a whole nother page here.
Yeah, we got a whole other page, Sean. What do you, we got plenty to go. Keep moving.
All right. Okay, I'll look for motion.
Oh, no.
Motion to close.
Hearing.
Second.
By Julie. Surprising. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. So
Sure.
do you notify me by mail or how?
You can stick around. You can watch on the 2 TV channels that I cited before, or you can contact Mike or Dawn in the morning.
Okay,
All right?
thank you.
3 choices.
You're welcome. Have a good night. All right, application 12, Allison and Daniel Brown for a contract, as contract vendees, DeSanctis being the owner, for a variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to construct a second floor on an existing non-conforming first floor. Property is located at 18 Frederick Street, Mahopac, New York, tax map 64.19-1-62. The code requires or allows 15 feet. What's provided is 8.79 feet, so variance needed of 6.21 feet. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Mary Scott, the architect. Just to let you know, the Browns have closed on the property, so they're owners now. They're no longer contract vendees.
Okay, just state your name, your address for the record.
33 Fairways Drive, Mount Kisco, New York, 10514.
Before I swear you in, I have to ask a question. Does this change this application since it was notified as being a contract vendee?
Not at all.
Right.
Change the relief, the scope of the relief.
Okay,
Both names were on
Once you
there,
get a
so-
deed, if you could get us a deed, that'd probably do it, right?
yeah.
Doesn't even matter, we have a deed for the previous.
If they were dead standing as an entity, if they closed, then they closed.
Right. It's all about the land. It's not about anything else, so. Right.
Now I'm going to swear you in. Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, thank you.
So the Browns bought this property. It's a one-story, 1945.
If you want to take the handheld, so
Yeah.
that way you can
Oh.
talk.
It's being recorded so minutes can be taken from it, so.
Yeah, that way you can talk to what you want to do with it.
Okay, so, house built 1945, one story. They desire to build a second story over it. I did this Google map with the outline so you can see the property, or the house was built kind of cocked to the property line. So it's 8.79 feet from the line here, 12.76 here. You can see the property next door, which is most affected, is a much larger house and kind of set back, so they don't really look into each other. So we desire to put a second story on it so we can put the living spaces on the first floor and the bedroom spaces on the
So you won't be
second.
encumbering anybody's view.
Excuse
Right
me?
on the lake, right? You won't be encumbering anyone's view by going up.
No. Matter of fact, this driveway, you're like going down a ski slope.
And you pretty much, you're following the same footprint of the
Correct.
existing house. That's why you're here, because it didn't
Just
conform
going up.
originally, so.
Yep.
All right, it's a nice little design.
Thank
Commend
you.
on that. Board members, any comments, concerns?
Looks very good. No comments.
All right, there's no
concerns.
property you can purchase to bring it into conformance. There's no property you can purchase, or the applicant?
I mean, you can see there's a well-developed house next door, and there's nothing they can
I
sell.
got you.
so,
I'm just establishing a record, so.
yes. Okay.
Okay, and your neighbors, or their neighbors have been notified? If anyone's got opposition, I'm sure they'd be here. Board members, any other questions, comments, concerns? Anybody in the public have any input or questions on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Julie. I mean, everyone. Thank you, man. All right, where am I?
Brian Kelly?
Application number 13, application of Brian Kelly, a variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to retain 2 sheds. Theme of the night. The property is located at 33 Well Road, Mahopac, New York, tax map 53.1-5.9.13. The code requires or allows for the shed 1, 10 feet on the side. What's existing is 2 feet. A variance of 8 feet is being sought. For shed number 2, it's the same exact situation, 10, 2, and 8. Good evening.
Hi,
State your name and address for the record.
Brian Kelly. I live at 33 Well Road, Mahopac, New York. The one shed was there.
Hold
when-
on. Raise
I'm
your right
sorry.
hand.
I apologize.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
The one shed was there when I purchased the property. The other one I added about 2 years ago.
So, didn't get picked up on title search?
No, it was on the original plan thing that I had gotten when
Remember the site
I
plan?
closed.
Yeah.
But that paperwork's been all gone. I had to flood the garage. All that paperwork for my closing's gone.
Yeah. That's a good question. So the existing one was the red one,
Yes.
and the Rubbermaid, looks like,
Yes.
is the newer one.
And if I get the variance, can I take the Rubbermaid down and put one the same size but made out of wood, so
Yep.
it's just better,
Yep.
cleaner looking?
If you get the variance.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry.
So there's a pergola, but Mike, does that conform? He supplied pictures of a pergola in the back?
The setbacks are 14 and 11.
Gazebo or something?
The
Gazebo, sorry.
So he's conforming.
It's fine, okay.
Yeah.
There's no property you can purchase to bring it into conformance?
No,
Landlocked there?
yeah. The neighbor has one literally like back to the other one,
Okay.
to the initial one that I had, and they're very nice. Everybody's pretty happy just because I keep the yard.
You
clean.
just publicly ratted on your neighbor, but that's,
Oh,
I'm kidding.
sorry. But
Yeah, which one is it? Because they all gave
Sorry.
letters.
Yeah, so
Are
much
there
for the
letters
good
in support
neighbors.
for this one? Yeah, okay.
It's a lot of
Behind
letters.
the pictures. All right.
Yeah.
Deborah Javier, these are all letters in support of this application. Deborah Javier from 34 Well Road, Aussie Club. Laura Schmidt from 42 Birch Boulevard. How far from your property is that?
She's on the other side of the, maybe 100 yards.
Okay,
maybe.
she's in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would know. She would know.
You have a letter from the president of the Aussie Sport Club, which is that homeowners association, from
Yep.
Eugene Bosch?
Bosch. yeah.
Bosch? He's the president of the actual sport club.
Yes.
Stephanie Rossi? she
That's,
doesn't-
that's our neighbor directly across the street, just
Yeah,
over.
she doesn't
a
give
hedge.
her address. She should have done that here, but that's fine. We'll take your
Her
word for
email
it.
address.
Laura Schmidt, that's a duplicate.
That's a duplicate.
Okay, these are all letters in support for the record, and they're part of your file. Board members, any questions?
No
Concerns?
questions,
No
Chairman.
questions, thank
No
you.
questions.
Thank you very
Otherwise-
much.
Comments?
Any input from the public on this application? Nice.
right, I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Rose, seconded by
Second.
Silvio. Okay.
Mixed it up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Good luck. All right, application number 14, Warren and Angela Messner for variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to add dormers to finished space over a garage for a music studio / practice space, not commercial. The property is located at 44 Sycamore Road, Mahopac, tax map 76.5-1-28. The code requires or allows 25 feet to the front. What's being provided is 14 feet. A variance of 11 feet is required. For the side, 10 feet is allowed. 0.9 feet exists, so a variance of 9.1 feet is being sought. Good evening, folks.
Warren Messner, Angela Messner, 44 Sycamore Road, Mahopac.
Just turn that mic up closer to your mouth if you don't
This
mind,
one?
and you
Okay.
can use that one if you're going to speak, ma'am.
Okay. Warren Messner, 44 Sycamore Road, Mahopac, New York.
Okay, and,
Angela Messner, 44 Sycamore Road, Mahopac.
okay, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, thank you. All right, what's it going on? You had an existing garage?
Yes.
All right, bring us through your
Okay.
situation.
We had an
here.
existing, we bought the property about a year ago, and it was in dire need of repair. Every piece of structure on the property was falling apart. And
Hadn't been lived in for 7 years.
You haven't moved in for 7 years?
It hadn't, the building, the structures, none of them had been lived in for 7 years.
So it went to rot?
Yes.
Basically.
so we wanted to improve the properties, and we asked for a building permit, which we received, and we started the work on it. So we're asking this board to give us permission to complete our project.
Okay, so why did it get stopped?
I guess someone.
Mike, do you want to?
Yeah, what happened was the plans that were submitted said finished second floor, meaning above the garage, implying that it was already there. It was brought to my attention after by one of the neighbors that it wasn't already there, and we went out and checked it, and that's how it all came up.
Okay, so it was a terminology kind of
Correct.
faux pas.
If you look further into the plans, you could see there were details on the floor and the walls and things, but it wasn't like we usually get, but either way.
Okay, there's no property you can buy to bring it into conformance, I'm assuming, and you're kind of, how long was the garage there? Predates?
When I submitted the application, I know Dawn looked at it, it looked like there was a variance like in 1930 or something like that. It's been there forever.
Wow. Well, it wouldn't be, because the zoning was adopted in 55, so, so
87.
predates zoning.
87.
87.
Yes, there's a DNR in the floor 3 times.
It's old.
Julie found it.
March 87, retain existing deck,
Oh, no, it's just a deck. Yeah, that's not the.
existing
This
deck.
woman owned the property since 61.
So we don't know if the garage has been there that long, but
No, we don't
can,
have
we
anything
can
in the
assume,
garage.
as it was
The house was built in 1922.
22?
Yes.
So maybe it is pre-existing.
The point is that the actual peak of the roof was raised above what it was before, correct?
Yes.
So the original peak was down lower, the whole thing came up on the same footprint, but taller.
All right, so the existing gables were existing, they're just popping out with the dormers? Or,
I'm told that they were actually raised, meaning that it was
We
here
raised them-
and now it's
We
here.
raised them about 2 feet
Two-
up
2
and pushed
feet.
out.
okay,
You
Prior to the
removed the
front.
old roof,
Correct.
Correct.
built a new roof.
okay. I mean, it's a beautiful
And
design.
then
it's just-
dormered it.
It's tough that it's close to the
And
property
what?
line.
Sorry,
And
Mike?
dormered it also.
And
Sorry,
dormered it.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, any questions from the board?
No, is there anything else that we need to look at, Mike, with that? Because it's higher?
That's why it's here. If it was
Yeah.
the exact same as it was before, they wouldn't have needed the variance. So when
Right.
it said on the application, finished space, I thought the space was already there. Turned out it wasn't.
So I know we're looking at,
As far as any height restrictions, if
Yes.
that's what you're asking, no, there's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You can tell
asking,
it's-
like-
It's,
it's not,
What is it blocking
we're
views of the
looking
lake?
at, we're looking at
2
a
feet?
front and a side variance. I have no further questions.
okay. Rose?
You're not putting any plumbing in there?
There is plumbing in there, yes.
There is plumbing.
It was permanent for plumbing.
You're allowed to finish things.
Go ahead.
Okay. I want to make sure you guys interpreted that you're allowed to put these accessory, not dwelling units, but accessory uses above garages, so people are allowed to have bathrooms above the garages.
Okay.
That's why sometimes when you say that to people, I kind of go like this, like, you already interpreted that you're allowed to, but that's up to the board. If you want to condition it that you can't, you're allowed to, but they already got a permit to allow it.
They got a permit
To allow
because-
a bathroom in there, but just a bathroom. No kitchen, nothing else is in there, just a bathroom.
Okay, so no kitchen in there.
No kitchen.
Well, do they have Board of Health approval for that?
Yes, they're tying into the existing septic. It's not an additional bedroom, so that's why it's.
Considered powder room.
Right, right.
Okay, well, if it's a music studio, it makes sense if you're jamming up there and you gotta go. Board members down here, any questions?
Installation. How are we making sure, because it is so close to your property line, that we're not, your neighbors aren't jamming with you?
I'm not sure if they're musicians or not.
Yeah, right, exactly, so.
Is there gonna be a drummer?
Yes.
Possibly.
Okay.
We have,
No, I'm just curious, are you gonna soundproof the space?
No difference than a
Yeah.
house.
That's true.
it's,
My kids play all the time.
Right, right.
the idea is so we can store musical equipment up there and play if we want.
All right, well, that's fine.
I'm a bad bass player, but
That's my son.
All right, so apparently it looks like there's some people in support or to speak on this application, so any input from the board? You guys are good?
No questions, thank
Okay,
you.
at this point, I'll open it up to the public for any input. Sir? If you guys can step aside and let him come to the podium?
I'm Charles Langlitz, 41 Sycamore Road, Mahopac.
Charles, can you raise your right hand, please?
Sure.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
The height of this, I'm the one who called, by the way.
Just speak into the mic.
I'm the one who called, by the way, about this. The height of it, I just want to present the photographs of the before
Just
and after.
speak into the mic. So it's
Photographs of before and after.
Okay.
You could see the height. It does block views, just to let you know.
In fairness, though, this picture's not taken from the same
Yeah, it's not the
perspective.
same, unfortunately.
This one's closer, make it seem bigger, so.
And also that there's plumbing in there, there's being put in there. Some of the concern is that in the deed restrictions, that I'll read it to you. The party of the second part, its successors and assigned agree not to erect a house having what is known as a flat roof, nor or erect a building of the character known as a two-family, flat, or apartment. I'll present this to you as well.
Okay.
And the bylaws that go with it.
All right.
Just from in the past, this board hasn't acted on deed restrictions because
Okay.
that's not the purview of this board. This board really needs to just interpret what the law is.
In the town's code.
And to have a dwelling unit, you need to have facilities for eating, sleeping, and sanitary.
Okay.
So without a kitchen, there is
So-
not a,
How are we going to prevent something like this to be turned into an apartment? Is my concern, one of my biggest concerns here. Because whether they commit saying they will turn it into an apartment, doesn't stop the next person who takes that property over to do so.
There's no kitchen.
No
Or
kitchen
full-
for
or
now,
full bath.
electrical kitchen.
There's no kitchen, no full bath.
There's no full bath.
No.
No, he
No,
just
it's a
said it
powder
stated
room.
before, it's just
Just
a
a toilet.
toilet and a sink.
Toilet and sink.
So a powder room.
Yeah, it's a straight powder.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I mean,
Thank
all
you.
due respect, that would have to be managed from your, I guess, a homeowners association.
Right.
Correct? So
Right.
that's
And
not
then, of course,
really
if
within our
it got to that point,
view.
complain to the town and the enforcement officer.
I was going to say, you can make a complaint to me if there is a dwelling unit in there.
Right,
Or if you
right.
get word of
Right.
it.
Okay.
See an ad in the penny saver, whatever, I say penny saver, they don't have that
Did you
anymore. but-
actually just eat yourself?
If you see an ad somewhere, please tell me and we'll go out there, we'll take care of it.
Okay, so that's it. I don't know if you could do, I know my neighbors had an issue with the view as well, but
They're not here?
Clearly, you can't do much about that.
Are they here?
And the fact that it's already here, no, they're not here, they couldn't make it today. You know, the fact that they've already got that erected, it's not like people can ask them to take it down anyway.
It's
But-
happened before, but
Yeah, well, the whole thing is no variation, and it came in, and it just went up real fast. You know, by the time I got contact, that thing, the dormers were up already. And we were kind of like, oh, crap.
I've never met a contractor so fast. Can you give me his number?
Yeah. Personally, I thought it was done intentionally, but, you know, that was my opinion. So, I guess that's it for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, just.
Yeah, make sure you write your name and address.
Yeah, Charlie, please.
I was just reading that.
Oh, sorry. Help yourself. Anybody else wish to be heard on this application, sir?
Someone in the back.
Hold on, wait a second.
That's all right. You can come
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
I'll start the process
Okay.
in the other microphone. Go ahead.
You can go to the other
mic.
microphone, you can start.
Just use your, state your name and address for the record, please.
Andreas Kubier, 47 Sycamore Road.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
The past resident of that house was the longest living resident on Mahopac Point, Dodie Ryan. She passed recently. That house, well, she passed a while ago, but the house has been vacant, in disrepair. Sycamore has 20 houses on it that are on the water side. On the 20 houses, there are 8 structures that are garages that are touching the road, touching the neighbor's property, that have all at one point in time been either varianced in. Several of those structures are literally the garages on the property line. I have,
It's tight.
pardon me?
It's tight.
Yes.
You're up against
Yeah,
the
we're
road.
familiar with that road very well.
Yeah.
Right. The back property of the structure that they're adding the second story to is a, what we call on the point, a finger, which is a boat access property. So it's a 12-foot section, so it's not even a house. The next structure over after the finger is a garage. The property in general has been drastically improved. Just for the record, we're going to go down 34 Sycamore, 38 Sycamore, 14 Sycamore, 52 Sycamore, 42 Sycamore, 26 Sycamore, 28 Sycamore, and 30 Sycamore all have garages that are either on the property line, 3 feet from the road, on the road. This is being raised, the roof is being raised by 2 feet. I live diagonally across. It does not affect my view. The gentleman to my right here, it does not affect his view because he can't see that way either. I believe it is it's an improvement to our neighborhood. I am in support of the project.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just sign your name and address. Anybody else wish to be heard?
Motion to
You're
close.
good? You guys back there are good?
Do you have anything else to say or no?
He's waiting.
Come on, you have to come up. Yep.
Turn it on.
Just
turn it on.
flick the
turn
switch.
it on,
Yeah,
turn it
flip the
on.
button.
It's-
Use the other one.
Or use the other one.
So what I was going to say is I have received texts and verbal support of this, so if you'd like me to provide those, or us to provide those.
Unless it's on paper, we can't really take it as, you know,
Physical.
supportive.
Okay,
It's got to be in writing.
all right, thank you.
Either a letter or, you know, certified letter or something. But you can email Dawn and Mike's office, but at this point, it's a moot point because you're here now. The time would have been prior to 7:30 this evening.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
All right.
I have a question for the gentleman back there that spoke. Sir, could you come here for a second?
Excuse me.
You had talked about, there were many garages along that road,
8 of them.
and they're sitting right on
The road.
the road. Do we have the potential, by granting this, that all these people are going to come in and start raising their garages?
already.
Or they already have?
Yes.
They all have?
So.
Summer carports.
No, there's no carports. There are several, there's one garage, if I get my piece of paper back, hold on. There's one garage that is actually taller than this building. I don't have the number in front of me. The other garage, they all have dormers, or they all have roofs that are like this. This garage is actually set further back from the road, whatever the distance is. There are several garages that are much closer to the road.
Like number 38 is right on the road.
All right, let me get my piece of paper.
Number 42 is right on the road.
Are you looking at Google Maps?
I'm looking right at the satellite.
Case, though.
Yeah, every case stands on its own.
Yeah, they're all case by
But-
case.
All of these other garages, are these roofs new, or are they older roofs? And you say that they all,
So the Point is a very old neighborhood.
Right.
34, that garage is literally on the road. Like, if you open the door, you're stepping on the road. I don't know how old that roof is. It has a very steep pitch.
would you say it's older, or is it something that's just...
My
been
house
done?
is 1923. A lot of the homes are very old. 38 Sycamore, that one is on the road, which is currently, all right, I'm not going to rat out my neighbors. 52 is
How long have you lived there?
20 years.
I guess my question is, were they all improved recently, or are they all existing for years and years?
Some of them have been improved. Which number here? 30 has just been improved. They just put a brand-new roof on that.
And is it higher, the pitch higher?
No, they just re-roofed it.
All right,
That's
any
a new resident in 30.
New pitches?
No new
high-
pitches, no.
No new higher
On 30, there isn't.
All right, Rose, every case is based
I
on its own
understand
merits.
that, but,
So the roof went up 2 feet in height,
right.
and the dormers. It didn't change anything. I mean, compared to the dilapidated building that I've been looking at for the last 8 years, and I know the old owners who live in Buffalo who said they were going to come down for the weekend and never came down for 8 years. It's a drastic improvement to our neighborhood. What my point was that there's 20 houses on that side of the road. I don't live on that side, I live on the other side.
Right.
That have garages that are either on the road, touching the neighbor's property. 52, which is across the street from me, that garage is the property line. So it's a tight neighborhood. The only thing that the new residents did was make it 2 feet higher. They didn't change the footprint, it's just made
No,
it 2 feet
my
higher.
concern was that all of a sudden we're going to get a lot
Rose,
of
the
these.
bottom line is, if you look at this picture, there's a tree that's going to be there 8 months of the year that is in the same view of, and if it was such a big concern of this neighbor across the street, they'd be here tonight. So
Well, that,
I think that's, and I'm going to
you know
save this
that
for the-
neighbor,
for
and
the
that
record.
neighbor's not coming in here.
So,
The people directly across the street, they're not coming in here.
Don't have.
All right, so...
Thank you.
Any more input?
Talking about other properties that might be in violation.
There's quite a few of those.
That goes sideways really quickly.
All right, board members, any other input?
No questions,
Any
thank-
other input from the public? All right, I'll look for motion to close this application.
Motion to close.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Julie got quiet all of a sudden.
Julie's got tired.
She awake?
I have no side as what, so that's why.
She did her share, she did her share, she carried the weight. All right, minutes of August 31st.
One more, and then we gotta adjudicate. Dude, you're way out.
We got one more, Johnny.
Hold on, guys, I'm going in order.
No, you're-
No, you're
Miscellaneous.
not, you've
No,
not
no.
paid.
Number 15.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr.
I'm so sorry. Mr. Weisenecker, I presume?
First in, last out.
You were.
That's Philo.
You
That's
must-
right, he walked in right
You must have been in the Marine
I'll be
Corps.
able to get up
Are
here.
you a Marine?
The last shall be first.
Bill Weisnecker, 225 Daisy Lane.
All right, my apologies. Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the
Yes,
whole
I
truth,
do.
nothing but the truth, so help you God. So
Why
help you
am I
God.
here? My neighbor got a violation, and Dennis happened to look over the fence. He said, there's another one.
All right, let me read it for the public. Variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to retain the shed. The property is located at 225 Daisy Lane in Carmel, New York, and is tax map 77.19-1-11. Code requires or allows 10 feet. What's provided is 7.5 feet, and what's being Requested is 2.5 feet. Now, tell us what your situation is.
Dennis was at the neighbors, and Dennis looked over the fence and says, I got another one.
Dennis is doing his job.
Yes, he is.
So there's no property you can buy to bring it into
I
conformance?
wish I could buy the left and right side, north and south.
Can't afford it.
Right.
Mega Millions.
So I'm here for
Okay.
my 2.5 feet.
There's no issue, your neighbors don't have any issues, obviously they'd be here. How long has the shed been there?
We started off in 1940, was a sheep shed, knocked it down in early 2000. I put up a 3-sided 10-by-10 shed.
Okay, you didn't know you needed a permit or
Not
variance?
really. I knocked down the existing. It was a
Okay.
bigger shed. It was a 25 by 12 or whatever it was.
Okay.
Oh, it was a larger shed that was there prior?
Oh, it was big. It was a sheep
Yeah,
shed.
sheep shed.
Sheep shed.
Try saying
A
that.
she shed or a sheep shed?
It was my grandfather's.
Wow.
And it was pre-existing non-conforming.
Now we're getting delirious.
We really are.
Okay. Any input from board members? Questions or
No questions,
concerns?
Chairman.
On the left?
No,
Questions or concerns?
no.
Any input from the public on this application?
William's gonna
I'll
run
look for
away
motion
after
to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I was gonna say motion to
Good
grant,
luck.
let him be the
Thank you.
first one.
Thank you for service.
Before we grant. Good night.
All right, now miscellaneous. Minutes from August 31st, 2023, and September 28th, 2023. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as posted?
Motion to accept.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Now it's
Other
fine.
business.
No, wait, don't we want to adjudicate first and then go with the other business?
Yeah, we should. I'm sorry, I didn't realize people are still waiting
Yeah.
around. So, we're gonna, and no further input from the public at this point. We're gonna go through, and adjudicate. Number one was held over, right?
No,
No,
dismissal.
Dismissed without prejudice. Application number 2, we held over.
That was held over.
For the 9th time. Application number 3, Frank Giordano. Look for a motion.
Oh, boy.
Motion to grant the use variance.
Do I have a second?
Don't we have to deal with the interpretation first?
Oh, yes, this is interpretation.
There's an interpretation that rides with this.
So we have to go interpretation first?
Yes.
If you get the interpretation, you don't need
You don't
to
need
use
the
the
variance.
variance.
Oh, you know what, you're absolutely right, and I totally, actually thought that this was a good interpretation. All right, so I withdraw my motion and move that we grant an interpretation that the apartment above the garage is legally predated.
And do I have a second to that?
Second.
And the discussion is, I think the council provided the proper documentation, the hardship,
Enough, yes.
and the affidavits of real-life people who actually lived there and were familiar with the property.
The only concern I have is the zoning decision that was made against it sort of made it illegal. I agree with everything else until that one decision was in the file. And I went, ooh, I don't know if I could do this interpretation.
That was a 1978
Yeah, you have to
interpretation.
understand, things change over time.
No, I understand, but.
And boards change. I mean, I'm the longest running one here, but prior to me, there were
But,
dozens of them.
sure, but in my mind, that,
Interpret things differently.
but that made it invalid. That's just me, I'm one board member. I can sit here and grant the use variance, trust me, but for me, I can't agree. I don't agree to the interpretation because of that break.
Okay, do I have a second to the the positive
did, yeah.
interpretation?
I second the
John did, okay.
interpretation.
Yeah.
Any other input or discussion? So we'll do a roll call vote. John,
I'm for the motion,
for the
for
interpretation?
the interpretation and the
Rose?
granting.
For the interpretation.
Phil, obviously you
For the
made it.
interpretation.
Against the interpretation.
Julie?
Four.
And Will? And I'm for the interpretation, so it carries. Okay?
I'm just one member.
All right, you're entitled to it. Absolutely.
You're a minority member.
Apparently.
Application of cotage.
Held over.
Held
Oh,
over.
that's, hold on. I don't make my notes because I'm busy reading.
That's
Okay.
fine.
New applications, Christopher McBride. I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Application for Stanley, number 6. Look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a
Second.
second? Julie, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Application number 7, Coleman.
Got to hold him. He's a hold, though.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a hold.
That's a hold.
That's a hold.
Yep, thank you.
Renotice on that.
And renotice.
Application number 8, Malachek, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 9, Jason Schott, look for motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application number 10, Joseph Caruso, look for motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
Second by Julie. Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Application number 11, Briali,
Motion to grant.
second.
Second.
Julie, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Granted. Application number 12, Allison and Daniel Brown, look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Granted. Application number 13, Brian Kelly, looking for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Granted. 14, Mesner, looking for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second?
Do we want to condition no kitchen and only a powder room?
I think it's understood, Mike.
Is it understood?
As what's in the application, right?
If he tries to do a kitchen, he would need to get a variance from the board because the building's no longer existing in 1998, so they'll be back for an accessory apartment.
And also, doesn't that also invalidate his septic acceptance as well, because now all of a sudden he's adding a bedroom?
Agreed.
Yeah.
But you could take one out of the main house.
True, fair
There's
enough.
ways to do it, but.
Fair
yes.
enough, but yeah, okay.
I don't see a need to put it in there. If he does, he's in violation, so it's,
And powder room, that's also
That's okay.
standard?
That's allowed.
he can do,
That's
I mean,
allowed.
if he wants to put a shower in.
Toilet bowl.
I mean, not that he would, but why can't he?
Oh, I wasn't sure. They
Yeah.
had mentioned powder.
No,
room before.
I'm just talking to the board, not at
Yeah.
anybody specific.
Right.
I mean, there's no reason, if he wants to work in his yard and then take a shower out there, he has a bathroom if he decided.
That's correct.
As long as the Board of Health is okay with it.
Right,
Especially
which is
being
as
on the
long
lake.
as it's not a bedroom, right?
All right, any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Application number 15, Weisenecker.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sheep shed.
Your aye preceded your discussion.
Oh, we
Yeah.
skip one?
All right.
Skip.
Wait,
I got it.
are you recusing?
They did minutes.
Yes, I'm recusing from this next one.
Okay. Let the record reflect that Mrs. Fabiano has recused herself.
And what about Mr. Santini?
And Mr. Santini, you should recuse yourself as well.
From this.
I recuse myself.
There you go.
You have to leave the podium, though.
Yeah, you have to step down.
Please.
Oh, step
Yep,
off.
yep.
Okay.
All right, other business this evening is, we have to consider a negative declaration and approval of a stipulation and settlement of consent order, New York SMSA Partnership et al. Versus Town of Carmel 19 CV 10793. So, we have,
I have to make two motions. I'm going to make my first motion. The board has reviewed the short environmental assessment form. It is an unlisted action. There are no significant adverse impacts from approving the stipulation, and the facility shall be reviewed, and there will be a separate but no less protective of the environmental secret of review at this time of the full review. That is my motion.
okay, and I believe there's a second motion on the table.
Well, we
here.
have to do this one
We have
first.
to do this
Yeah,
one first.
so-
We second that motion?
So, do I have a second to that motion?
Yes, second.
Any discussion?
Roll call it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Okay. I need to make a second motion. The board approves the stipulation of settlement and consent order in the matter of New York SMSA Limited Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, and Homeland Towers LLC versus the Town of Carmel et al., United States District Court, Southern District of New York, docket number 19-CV-10793. I offer that as read.
Okay, and do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, as noted. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
See ya.
Thank you, happy holidays,
Good night,
happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Yes. Thank you. See you in the end of the month.